Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday morning to you, and welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. We are continuing our study of the 70 weeks of Daniel chapter 9, 24 to 27. One of the most pivotal, one of the most crucial Old Testament messianic prophecies. Now, what I simply want to do this morning is to summarize what I've shared with you over the last 2 or 3 videos. I hope it's not too repetitious, but I have been examining the claim by postmillennialists, amillennialists, and some few preterists that the 70 weeks ended in 34-35 AD. There's a problem there, and those who make that argument recognize that there is, in fact, a difficulty because Daniel 9:24 says 70 weeks are determined on your people and on your city. So the argument is given, well, it doesn't actually say that the destruction would lie within the 70 weeks. So what it must mean is that the fate of the city would be determined within the 70 weeks, and they point to Matthew chapter 24. And Jesus' prediction of the fall of Jerusalem there. So they say, see, what you have here is Jesus living within the 70 weeks. He is determining the fate of the people in the city, which would occur outside the 70 weeks. But that's not what the text says. 70 weeks are determined for your people and for your city. Now, I have suggested that the fate of the city and the people was determined right there in Daniel chapter 9. 70 weeks are determined, not will be, are determined for your people and for your city. Not only that, we go back to Isaiah chapter 10, 20 and following, and the overwhelming destruction that was to come on Israel in the last days, guess what? Was being determined right there in Isaiah chapter 10. By the way, I developed that, I demonstrate that, I prove that linguistically, contextually in this little book, Seal Up Vision and Prophecy. There's simply no way, contextually, linguistically, grammatically, to justify the claim that the 70 weeks were determined to determine the fate of the people and of the city. And then I've shared with you that if you say the actual fate of the people and of the city lies outside the 70 weeks, you could just as well argue that the putting away of sin lies outside the 70 weeks. If not, why not? And if a person says, well, because it says 70 weeks are determined to put away sin, that's right. And it says 70 weeks are determined on your people and on your city. It doesn't say 70 weeks are determined to figure out when sin would be put away. No, 70 weeks are determined to put away sin. 70 weeks are determined to finish transgression. 70 weeks are determined to make the atonement. It doesn't say 70 weeks are determined in order to determine when the atonement would be made. No, the atonement, the making of the atonement lies within the 70 weeks. And how do you argue? How could it possibly be argued and admitted, as I develop in this book, Seal Up Vision and Prophecy, that terminology demands that Daniel was being told the 70 weeks were determined for the fulfillment. Number one, the cessation of the prophetic office through the fulfillment of all prophecy. When commentators, which like Kenneth Gentry does, as I demonstrated in yesterday's video, when they try to change the focus and say, well, 70 weeks are determined to seal up the vision, and change the focus from comprehensive vision and prophecy to a singular vision, a singular prophecy, i.e., Daniel 9, that's changing the focus and it's changing the text. There is no definite article in the Hebrew. I'll never forget, I had a formal public debate with Thomas Thrasher in Indianapolis years ago, and I made this argument, and how powerful, powerful, powerful the argument is. And Mr. Thrasher got up, and he said, there is a definite article in that text. Well, I had read commentator after commentator after commentator, consulted the Hebrew text with people who could read the Hebrew eloquently, absolutely well. No, there is no definite article. He was trying to run a bluff because he found a translation where the word thee was added. He said, see, there's a definite article. Sorry, it's not in the Hebrew. This is so important. 70 weeks are determined for your people and for your city to seal vision and prophecy. Now, since all prophecy was not fulfilled at the cross, since all prophecy was not fulfilled in 34-35 AD, but since Jesus said, speaking of the fall of Jerusalem in AD 70, these be the days of vengeance in which all things that are written must be fulfilled. And when Revelation chapter 10, as I've shared with you earlier, says that in the days of the sounding of the seventh trumpet, the mystery of God is foretold by the prophets would be fulfilled, and the seventh trumpet sounds at the fall of Jerusalem, the city where the Lord was crucified, Revelation 10, 8 through 15. That is definitive. That's the sealing of vision and prophecy, which is, by the way, the fate of the people and the city, just like Daniel foretold. It is, therefore, simply specious. It is untenable. It does not work to claim that Daniel 9:24 was fulfilled in 34-35 AD. If you're going to take that position, then you are completely negating the actual temporal parameters of the 70 weeks. You're saying, well, the 70 weeks were just simply delineated in order to figure out when the rest of this stuff is going to take place. That is not the meaning of the text. Now, as I mentioned, I discuss all of this and more in both of these books. Seal it, Vision and Prophecy, 70 weeks are determined for the resurrection. Order either one of these books, and you will get a free copy of Can God Tell Time? Well, thank you so much for joining me on this morning's Morning Musings. I hope this summary helps you see clearly the 70 weeks did not end in 34-35 AD. The 70 weeks would end when the power of the holy people was completely shattered. Now, don't forget, tomorrow we will have video number 2 in my review, response, and refutation of Brock Hollett's book, Debunking Preterism. You absolutely do not want to miss it, so I'll see you on the flip side.